That's okay. Okay, today we're going to talk about subjects and predicates. And I will remind you again that this is something that you already know. One of the challenges of being an English teacher is you're literally teaching the same thing over and over and over and over again, year after year after year after year. It's just every year what you learn gets a little bit more complicated. Okay? So we're going to start back with subjects and predicates at the easy and work our way up to things that are a little bit more difficult. So this is on page 497. And if you have a pencil, that would be excellent. And you also need your directions note card today. Nobody wants to write all these sentences down, right?
Oh, I can read them now.
Okay, so put your sheet protector over this page 497. So a couple things. Reminder. When we say the subject of a sentence, we are talking about what part of speech? What can the subject be? What part of speech? Noun or what? Pronoun. So, we're looking for the noun or pronoun that is doing whatever the verb says. Now, when I use the word predicate, I am also using the word verb. So I will use those interchangeably. I apologize. I'm apologizing to you now. I can't help myself. So if I say, what's the verb, I also mean what's the predicate. It's the same thing, okay? On this worksheet, what we're looking for is only the simple subject and simple predicate. So all I want here is the noun, single noun, and verb, single verb, that make up the subject and the predicate. You need your direction card because one of the rules I told you yesterday, there are 2 rules especially related to subjects and predicates. What are those 2 rules?
Cross out prepositional phrases.
Okay, we have to get rid of the prepositional phrases because they can confuse us. And also, what's the other rule?
Locate verbs.
Rule, not direction.
Oh.
What color is rules? Pink. So one of the rules is that the subject nor the verb will ever be found in a prepositional phrase, so that's why we have to get rid of them. What's the other one related to subjects and predicates? Really only, yeah, both.
The subject is always.
The subject is always going to come first. It's always. There's no exception, except questions, which we're not going to be working on. Okay, so let's read number 1 down at the bottom. American teenagers spent about $88 billion in 1993. Prepositional phrases. About 88 billion in 1993. We're only left with 3 words. American teenagers spent. What's the verb?
Teenagers. Spent.
And the subject?
Teenagers.
Teenagers. Number 2, the amount increased to approximately $99 billion in 1994. What do we cross out?
In 1994.
I'm only left with 3 words again, and one of them's an article. The amount increased. What's the verb?
Increase.
And its subject? Do the other 3 on your own.
Do the rest or just that one?
The rest. Sorry. Okay, turning to page 498. Now we're going to go up 1 step on the ladder, 1 step more difficult, to complete subjects and complete predicates. Yeah, if you have writing in your book, you can actually erase it. Anybody want a pink eraser?
Yeah.
Oh boy, a little off key there. Okay, this exercise is asking you to identify all the parts of the subject and all the parts of the predicate. Sounds a lot more difficult than it is. Remember, what do we know about the verb? What comes before the verb? The subject. So every single word in front of the verb is part of the subject, which means everything after the verb is part of the predicate. Literally, if you draw a line in front of the verb, you have separated the subject and predicate. Now, are all sentences that easy? No. But for the purpose of this lesson, all you have to do is draw a vertical line between subject and predicate. Okay? Do not forget the directions, though. We cannot forget to follow the directions. So, number 1, Kenobi Lake Park in the southeastern section of New Hampshire opened in 1902. Prepositions?
Of New Hampshire and 19.
Okay, where's the verb?
Open.
So, you literally make an up and down mark right there. Number 2, many people consider Kenobi Lake Park one of the most beautiful amusement parks in the United States. Cross out.
Of the most beautiful amusement parks in the United States.
Verb. Okay, people in the front row do the odds, back row do the evens. The pleasant grounds feature tree-lined walkways, flower gardens, and a lake. You guys are odds, right? Okay, so Maya, do we cross something out?
No.
Nope. What's the verb?
Feature.
Good. Number 4, Kendra. Guests to the park are especially amused by the 150-passenger paddle wheel riverboat. Cross out.
To the park, by the 150 passenger paddle wheel riverboat.
And the line goes
Before amused.
before amused. Okay. Actually, where there's another verb here. Are. Yep, right there. Don't leave out the helping verbs. Maybe I should add that to the directions. Number 5, the 80-acre park is regarded as one of the most popular entertainment centers in New England. Alexis, cross out.
Of the popular entertainment centers in New England.
And our line goes.
Before it is.
Number 6, the entire family will find something of enjoyment there. Piper?
Of enjoyment there. And slash good.
Visitors love the antique carousel with its beautiful hand-carved horses. Natalie?
With its beautiful hand-carved horses. And then, before love.
Young and not so young thrill seekers ride the park's 4 roller coasters again and again. Kendra?
Nothing. And then before ride.
Small children squeal in delight at the costume characters throughout the park. Maya?
And delight at the costume characters throughout the park. Line goes before squirrel.
The park presents high-tech fireworks and musical performances all summer long.
Or slash before performances. And also more.
Where does the slash go?
Before performances. Or, sorry, not performances. Presents.
There we go. Okay? Good? All right. Next page. 501. Okay. Most sentences are not as simple as the ones on pages 497 through 499. And when you start to look at some of the sentences you have written, you're going to find a lot of curious organization of words that you have created and made into a sentence that grammatically don't really work. One of the things that we do in sentences is use multiple nouns and multiple verbs working together. So on one of your note cards yesterday, we were talking about subject-verb pairs. So every verb must have a subject, vice versa. Subjects have to have verbs. But sentences can have multiple subjects and verbs that still fit as a pair. So sometimes they're separate, sometimes they go together. What we're going to look at on exercise 7 are sentences that have compound subjects and compound predicates. So, actually we're going to start on 5. We're going to look for sentences that have more than one noun or pronoun participating in the same verb. So look at the examples on page 500. Eagles and owls hunt for food. Verb is hunt. And who hunts? Eagles and owls. They're doing the same verb. A cardinal or a robin will be frightened by these hunters. What's the verb?
Will be frightened.
Will be frightened. And who will be frightened? Cardinal and robin. These words in between the subjects are called what? Conjunctions. Now, conjunctions are very important parts of English, but they can be confusing because they have so many jobs. When a conjunction is hooking together subjects or predicates, it just has its regular normal job. It's not doing anything special. On Tuesday, we're going to talk about conjunctions doing more than just holding together subjects and predicates. Okay, on your paper, I want you to put an S above the nouns. Or are there any pronouns? There are no pronouns. Put an S above the words that make up the subjects in sentences 1 through 5. Okay. Kendra, what are the subjects in number 1?
Baskets and gym.
Number 2, Piper.
Teams and ball.
Number 3, Natalie.
Nets, backboards.
Number 4, Alexis.
Men and women.
Maya, number 5.
Stanford and California.
Good. Okay, move over to the other page. We're going to do the same thing, except this time we're looking for the predicates. Let's do front row evens, back row odds. Good? For all future references, if you had included the adverbs like not, then within the predicate, that's okay. Because it's all part of the predicate. All right? Okay. Find your orange note card. Okay, I told you yesterday that we would be using a certain annotation to mark main and subordinate clauses. We're also going to use those markings to help us remember the different types of sentences. And this is really the most important part of this unit. Why do we need to know what the different types of sentences are? And when I say types, I'm meaning simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. There's only one reason this English teacher believes you need to know that. Because the type of sentence determines what?
How many verbs and subjects?
Yes. What do we do based on... What do we do to sentences based on the words that are included in them? Punctuate. This whole lesson, whole unit, if you will, is all for one major purpose, punctuation. Also, being able to recognize whether or not your writing has variety, like do you have all short sentences, all long sentences, but mostly it's so you know how to punctuate them. Okay, so.
We're adding this to our one-to-one.
Yes. This goes on your orange note card. So, types of sentences. The first type is what?
Simple.
Simple. What makes a sentence simple? What does it have? It only has one subject-verb pair.
Do we just like put this below the
Yep.
notations?
Okay, what do we call a subject-verb pair? It is a sentence. What else? What are some of the other words that describe a subject-verb pair?
Subject and predicate.
Yes, it's a subject and a predicate. What else?
Um,
Look on your note cards. We wrote it down yesterday.
A clause.
It's a clause. Any subject-verb pair is a clause. In a simple sentence, it's more than just a clause. What type of clause is it?
Dependent.
It's a main clause or independent clause. And how do we annotate a main or independent clause? One underline. So a simple sentence will be annotated with a single underline. Oh boy. Now, the word simple can be deceiving. When you hear the word simple, what do you think?
Easy.
Easy. Whoops. Wow, good writing. Oh, I'm gonna leave it. Okay, cross out. I changed my mind on making a too confusing sentence. I better change this too. At their Okay. That's got a little bit of logic, but it gets the idea across. At their house one day in August in the small Nebraska town of North Loop, two sisters, one younger, one older, named Nikki and Jenny, went swimming, bought lunch, rode their bikes, called their friends, baked cookies, and sold lemonade all on Saturday the 19th.
Still
We did a lot, didn't we? Okay. This is.
If you have anything in the two north locker rooms, can you please make sure that it's cleaned out at the end of this period? If you have anything in the two north locker rooms, please make sure they're moved into the south locker rooms at the end of this period. Thanks.
This is a long sentence. Is it a run-on? I mean, it probably could be written better, but grammatically, there's really nothing wrong with it. It has a lot of commas. It has a lot of conjunctions. It has a lot of words. What are the verbs?
Okay.
Okay, went,
Bought,
bought,
rode,
rode.
bought, paid, sold.
Yeah, and who did all these things? Nikki and Jenny did all of those things together, right? That's a simple sentence. It has two subjects and a number of verbs, but all of those verbs go with the same subject. So that's one subject-verb pair. Okay? In contrast, you could write a sentence that's not simple that says, if I go, you will stay. That is a complex sentence. It has, what are the verbs? Verbs, sorry.
I'll go and stay.
Will stay. Who will stay? Who will go? There are two subject-verb pairs in this sentence. This is a complex sentence. So the length of a sentence has absolutely nothing to do with the number of words in the sentence. It has only to do with the number of subject and verb pairs the sentence has. So this is one subject-verb pair. This is two subject-verb pairs. You understand the point of this illustration? A pair means subject plus verb. There's more than one verb here, but it's still one verb going with one subject. In contrast, this is a separate subject and verb and a separate subject and verb. Got it? Make sense? Okay. The second type of sentence, another one that I know you know, is a compound sentence. And what does a compound sentence have?
Two of, like, a subject or.
Okay, a compound sentence can only have, well, I shouldn't say can, really should only have two subject-verb pairs. They're talking about the same thing next door. It's hilarious. Okay, so in a compound sentence, we're going to have an underline and a second underline, and those two marks are going to be separated by one of two things. Either a semicolon or a comma, fanboys. Okay? We are not giving up our directions. 19th century American scenes and customs were recorded and preserved by the firm of Currier and Ives. What are the prepositional phrases in this sentence? Okay. verbs,
Recorded and preserved.
and what were recorded and preserved?
Scenes and costumes.
Scenes and customs. What type of sentence is this?
Compound.
Is there a comma fanboy or a
No, simple.
simple? Okay, this sentence has what? Wow, that's great. This sentence has a compound subject and a compound predicate, but it's like the Nikki and Jenny sentence. What about the subject and predicate? How many pairs of subject and predicate? One pair. Number 2, Nathaniel Courier was a printer and James Ives was an executive. Prepositions?
None.
None. Verbs?
Was.
And was. Who was?
Nathaniel Courier and James.
Courier. Ives. And what do we have here?
Comma
Fanboy. So this sentence is compound. How would you annotate it? Underline Nathaniel Courier was a printer. Underline James Ives was an executive. Okay, pause for a minute. On Monday, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to have you can leave your sheet protector, erase, probably should erase because I bet it'll rub off on the page next to it. Erase what you have, but just fold your sheet protector right into your textbook. I'm going to have you finish this on your own on Monday, and then Mrs. Marlowe will go over the answers with you. Then there are 2 worksheets. One of them is a subject and predicate only worksheet where you're going to cross out the prepositional phrases and draw the up and down line. The other one is going to be annotate simple and compound sentences. So there's a sentence. You're going to follow the directions on your note card by crossing out the prepositional phrases, underlining the clauses, and then you're going to mark in the blank if it's S for simple or C for compound. I'm going to write the directions on only one, and then you guys can copy each other's. Okay? So I'll revise the directions and do a correct example on one of the worksheets. Whoever gets that one, share it with your classmates. I will put these markers and erasers in a little. You come back and I will give you.
Yep. What period would work best?
Doesn't matter. I'll do it right now while they're journaling so I have it done and don't forget. It's only 4th period.
Can I go move my stuff from the locker?
Yeah, can I go get my stuff from the locker room?
Seriously sad.
Same here, same
I
here.
wanted to go fast. Yeah, I kinda need to go to the locker room.
Hilarious.
You
Okay.
have stuff.
Yes, everybody go.
Sleeves
I gotta-
full, 10-4.
I gotta change my setup here anyway, so.
Ooh, you guys are doing that stuff?
Yeah, but look how smart I got. Instead of writing on notebook paper, sheet protectors and X-posts. Isn't that a genius idea? How has it taken me 12 years to think of that? It's kind of embarrassing, actually.
Homework.